Hi, welcome to Highland Cottage Books. I'm Martha, and this is Highland Cottage, and today I'm going to talk to you about audiobooks that don't have a single narrator, they have full casts. I'm also going to give you the run times for each so that you can plan your road trips accordingly. I made coffee and tea, and there's some Moxie soda in the fridge. Moxie is from Maine, and it's what my family would drink when I was little, when we were on our interminable car trips from Connecticut to New Brunswick, which is a journey that we would take just about every summer. So grab your Moxie, have a seat on the couch, and let's talk audiobooks. Coming in at just under 6 hours is World War Z, which is a oral history of the Great Zombie War. Every chapter is an interview with a different person who lived through this fictional war. There are soldiers and teachers and doctors and civilians, and each of them is voiced by an actor that you've heard of. Let me read the list of just a few. So I get it right. There is Mark Hamill, Simon Pegg, Cal Penn, Denise Crosby, Jerry Ryan, Nathan Fillion, Paul Sorvino, Alfred Molina, Common, and Alan Alda. The story is less about blood and guts and, shambling zombies going brains. And it's more about the human spirit and what it takes to survive. And we are in the process of rebuilding the world when this story is told. So people are looking back at their actions and judging themselves and, seeing the good things they did and the less good things that they did. It's an interesting perspective, and there are some great moments there. We follow along as a crew goes through the Paris catacombs. That is terrifying. We also hear from astronauts who were up on the space station and kind of watching when things went down on Earth, and they were helpless up there and they didn't want to come back, obviously. There's also a servant of the royal family who tells their story of how they lived through the zombie apocalypse. If you didn't love the movie World War Z, I wouldn't worry, because this book and that movie apparently share a name, and that's pretty much it. That movie focuses on the Brad Pitt character and his family, and this book takes a much more global perspective, where we're focusing on, this soldier, this doctor, and we're hearing their little bit of the story, and all together you get the whole picture. It takes place all over the world, and it has an amazingly immense scope. The 2012 recording of Dracula comes in at about 15 hours and 30 minutes. You probably already know the basic story. There is a solicitor from England who takes a business trip to Transylvania, where he goes to a creepy castle, and he ends up being imprisoned there by his host, who, spoiler alert, is a vampire. While he's there, Dracula goes over to England and wreaks havoc on the local gentry. There are two young women, Mina and Lucy, who kind of catch his eye. Vampiric shenanigans ensue. What you may not know, if you haven't actually read it, is that it's an epistolary novel. Epistolary books are kind of like the found footage movies of the literary world. The whole story is told through letters, newspaper articles, journal diaries, and that sort of thing. The structure of Dracula makes it perfect for a full cast recording, so that you can have different people voicing the letters to each other, and you have a newspaper man reading the articles. You have the doctor, Renfield's doctor, talking about him in his diaries, and you hear from Van Helsing himself. The 2012 audiobook has Simon Vance, Alan Cumming, and Tim Curry as Van Helsing. I repeat, Tim Curry as Van Helsing. Gone Girl, the evil fairy godmother of twisty modern thrillers, is 20 hours long, but it is absolutely worth the time that you will invest in it, and it will not feel like it's 20 hours long. You're going to be spending a lot of time in your driveway because you're not going to want to turn off your car. You want to know what happens next. The full cast of this recording consists of exactly 2 actors, Julia Wayland and Kirby Hayburn, and you don't need any more when the story is this good. Gone Girl has dueling narrators. There's the husband Nick and his missing wife Amy, but that's all I'm going to tell you. It is best for you to go in blind. Paul Tremblay's horror movie is 7 hours and 30 minutes and perfect for creeping yourself out on late night car trips. It's about a low-budget film in the 1990s that was never completed because of a tragic incident that happened on set. However, in the age of the internet, it has gained a cult following because someone has uploaded a few scenes and a few pages of the script have been leaked out. Public interest has gotten to the point that some new filmmakers have decided to actually make the movie all over again and using one of the actors, the only actor who has survived from the original production. The majority of this book is told from his point of view as he's reflecting on his time on the set in the 90s. Where the full cast recording comes in is that throughout the novel, there are pages of the original script, and they are presented as if you are at the table read that happens, on the first day before shooting on a movie. You gather all your actors together and you read the script together out loud. And what's nice about this is it really does feel like you are at the table. You hear someone coughing in the background. You hear the pages being turned. You hear the ambient noises of people, squeaking in their chairs. And it adds this verisimilitude that makes the later scenes that are very creepy in the movie feel much more visceral. There's one scene in particular where it's so creepy. Not a lot is happening on screen, but the way it's described, listening to it was such a powerful experience that I can tell you, I was in my car and I can tell you what road I was on and where, what the cross streets were. I heard that scene between this road and that road, and I was completely creeped out on the way to work. Lincoln in the Bardo is 7.5 hours. It is an incredibly beautiful and unique book that is unlike anything you've ever read. The audiobook is even wilder. It has 166 narrators in it. 166. And it would be easier to list off all the actors who aren't in it than list off the ones that are, but I'm going to just give you a taste of who's in it. We have Nick Offerman, David Sedaris, Don Cheadle, Julianne Moore, Susan Sarandon, Bill Hader, Keegan-Michael Key, Megan Mullally, and Rainn Wilson. The Bardo is a concept in some Buddhist traditions. It's kind of this liminal space between death and whatever comes after when you move on. And the Lincoln in question is not Abraham, it's actually Willie, his son, who died while the president was in office. The book has so many narrators because it takes place in the confines of a very haunted cemetery, and all of these ghosts, some of whom knew each other in life and some of whom are cranky neighbors in death, they are all introducing themselves to Willie. The book is poetic, very theatrical, it's deeply moving. There are some moments of real humor in it. It is also completely unforgettable. The structure is a little bit experimental, but it is absolutely accessible. There is a beginning, there is a middle, there is an end. You will not get lost. I wouldn't go into it thinking I'm a huge fan of, say, Keegan-Michael Key, so I'm going to listen to this because people don't stay too long and they don't announce themselves. You just suddenly hear this person and that person. So I wouldn't do that. I would. Some of these things are a little bit stunt casting, but all of the acting is great. So, you know, just let it wash over you. The story is about grief, and it's about love, and it's about moving on. The Guest List is a thriller that's about 10 and a half hours long. You've probably already heard of it because a few years ago everybody was reading it. It was the hot new thing, and with reason. It is very twisty and full of dishy secrets and great characters that are very memorable. It's about a glamorous wedding that is being held on a remote island off the coast of Western Ireland, which is incidentally one of my favorite places in the world because I am a sucker for green rolling hills, stone walls, and sheep with, you know, waves crashing in the background, but I digress. There is, at this wedding, it is a very handsome groom who has a TV show and his beautiful bride who has a very wealthy family. Everything seems to be going well, and then somebody at the wedding is killed. You are hearing from the narrators are all different people at the wedding. There's some guests, some people in the wedding party, and also a woman who runs the venue itself. And each of these people have their own secrets and possibly motives for removing that person from the scene. So that's it. 6 audiobooks with full casts that make you feel like you're listening to a movie that's playing out inside your head. And if you're new to audiobooks, this is a great entry point. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And did I happen to mention that it's Tim Curry playing Van Helsing? It's Tim Curry playing Van Helsing. What are you waiting for? Shoo, go listen. Bye.